do you get started? Oh, so you think I'm someone special? You think that there's something so amazing about me that I was able to do it? Absolutely not. There's nothing about me that is different than you. And the only way that I got to where I got to was through a life full of trauma and hard work. The only thing I could take credit for is my emotional resilience and my mental fortitude. And that is something that I had to build up. Let's break it down and reverse engineer that life for you. I want you to take out a piece of paper and fold it in half. On the left hand, I want you to write ideal life, and on the right hand, I want you to write current life. Now I'm going to pan in on mine so that you can see what it looks like. But basically, I want you to write your future ideal life and then compare it to your current life. Obviously, at this point, I'm a pro YouTuber. This is my only second video being back in 3 years, so please excuse me as we have another scene to go through. We're going to be reverse engineering our lives now, and this is actually the most important step. And if this seems like a frivolous task, let me tell you, this is single-handedly the one plan that I wrote down that always keeps me on track. I'm talking about today, tomorrow, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years on track. I usually break this down even further, but I'm not going to include all the other items such as health, love, and things that are not pertinent to what we're talking about today. Okay, on the left-hand side, we have ideal life. We're going to write 4 categories for the ideal life: fire, brain, EQ, and physical, because there is nothing more important than these areas. I am doing this with you because it is extremely, extremely, extremely easy to really see the contrast between where you are and where you want to go and be able to bridge the gap when you are very easily confronted with where you are not going in the direction that you want to go in. Many times we are chasing the dreams of other people without realizing it's not our dreams ourselves. We are working 100-hour work weeks. We're hustlers, but we're not necessarily wanting that life. If you wanted to be a digital nomad, this is not the way to get there. So this contrast is your go-to. To reiterate my point, if I told you right now to take out a piece of paper and write down your to-do list, the 10 most pressing items that are priority to you and your business, and then I told you to take out another piece of paper and to write another to-do list, and on that to-do list, I want you to write your plan for the year 2025, I bet you that if you take those to-do lists and you contrast it to what we're about to do now, you're going to see that many of the items on your to-do list are actually going in the wrong direction. Okay. And I will give you personal examples as we go through this. So the first category is FIRE, which is financially independent, retire early. The whole FIRE movement is out there. I did not invent it. And obviously in here, we're going to have the financial plan that we're going to teach you how to do in this YouTube series that we have going on. But that plan is your financial plan. How far you want to get to, when do you want to retire, how much you want to retire with, how much passive income versus active income that you have. And I think it's really cute that I contrasted the word income because everyone says, oh, this is my income, but income is incoming. So it's incoming cash flow. And that is a big contrast from investments, right? We don't jump into Airbnbs and real estate and passive income. We jump into first cash flowing. You have to build businesses. You have to build cash. You have to build cash verticals. I cannot only talk about one vertical without talking about all of them. That would be a disservice. I would never gatekeep the fact that you can habit stack just like you can financially stack. You can do stocks, art, passive, active, income, different sources, but it's very important here to have your financial plan. And I don't want to jump to the end where I talk about lifestyle, but lifestyle is so important in influencing what you're going to be achieving. You could be a very zen, happy investor and live a very peaceful life with only 10 properties. You don't need to have 1,000 doors. You don't need to own a hotel. You don't need to do the Airbnb route, which is very labor intensive, even if you have a property manager that is overseeing everything. It's very important for you to have a clear picture of every single active and passive vertical that is available to you, and then deciding your path before starting. Stop flipping and wholesaling and Airbnb-ing and following every freaking guru in every different direction. It's your life. You get to decide what works for you and your partner and your family, whether it's chihuahuas or kids, it doesn't matter. It's your life to decide. Do you want to go the hustling route? Do you want to go the Zen route? It's all available to you. You can own 2 Airbnbs and surf all day. You can own 10 properties and have 3 kids. You can live on a farm and Airbnb the barn for weddings. There's so much potential for whatever your goals are, 300,000, 3 million, 300 million, 3 billion. It doesn't matter. The next category is your brain. If you think you're going to achieve any goal that you have in life without having the ability to take action, you are kidding yourself, darling. You need to make sure that you have a clear understanding of your dopamine and hormonal panel. And if you're a woman, especially your hormonal panel relating to testosterone and estrogen and progesterone, week over week during your menstrual cycle is a massive, massive game changer in the way you operate your business. When your progesterone is high, your brain works differently than when you have high testosterone. When your dopamine is equalized throughout the day and throughout the week because you have habit stacked really good biohacking tips that help you have a steady dopamine throughout the day and the weeks, then you are able to consistently show up for work the way that you want to show up. But if you are not necessarily making sure that you are having a consistent level of dopamine flowing through your brain, then what's going to happen is you are going to crash and burn out. And when you crash and burn out, you take 3 steps ahead and 20,000 steps behind. And we don't want to fall off. We're not trying to go up, down, crash. We're trying to go up, down, and consistently grow. Neuroplasticity is a very cool term. I'm sure you've watched some podcasts by Huberman Labs. You can go check him out. It's just a way to understand your brain, create new neural networks, understand your limiting belief systems, and where you need to change. Essentially, from when you were 0 years old to 7 years old, everything that you learned about life, you didn't learn with your brain cognitively. You learned with your brain through feeling, and that was through theta brain waves. And because you felt everything, you felt love, you felt the security. If your house wasn't loving, you felt unloving, and you attract a non-loving environment. If you grew up in a house that was full of chaos, that is your baseline. And because that's your baseline and your set point, just like weight has a set point, you're constantly going to go back to chaotic situations. So if you say, for example, I want a calm, easy Zen way in order to achieve my financial abundance, but then you see that your life is full of chaos, sales calls, like yelling at each other, Wolf of Wall Street style, then you're going to realize the massive contrast between what you want and what you're currently living. And then you're going to question, why are you living that way? And then you're going to realize that when you were a child, your house was chaotic. And therefore, in your theta brain waves, you have hypnotized your brain into believing and building neural networks around this action. Neural networks is a very easy thing to change. It's not easily done, but it's easy enough where it's A to B. All you need to do is make changes. You always go right, go left. You always look up, look down. You always work from home, work from a hotel. You always live here, take a road trip there. Just change things up. Be around people and situations that are different from yourself with an open mind, and you will start changing your neural network. Now we're ready to move on to emotional intelligence, EQ. Now, what's so interesting about emotional intelligence is the fact that it needs the above and beyond. It needs the brain because it needs to have the proper consistent nervous system, dopamine, neuroplasticity, mindset, limiting beliefs, blah, blah. It also needs the physical support. If you're not biohacking your body, eating well, taking the proper vitamins, drinking water, sleeping really well, being in the right frequency environment, this includes meditation, allowing your body to settle down, giving your body time to sort of equalize, then you are not going to be able to have a proper mindset, especially when stressors arise. The way that you handle business is really the way that you're going to set yourself apart from winners and losers. There's no way to get ahead without that. If you think you're going to fall down and not get back up, then you are going to fall down and not get back up. I cannot tell you how many failures I've had in my life. Therefore, I had to learn my own mindset and create my own resilience and perspective and mindset on life. If you think you're going to thrive in any business venture without having EQ, honey, darling, boo-boo, come here. Because let me tell you, there are so many people in the workforce that are narcissistic, that have ADHD, that have neurodivergence in many different areas. You have to know how to handle every single situation, from customer facing to business facing to in company culture. There's no way that you can get past that. But that's for another day. How to deal with them will definitely be in videos that are going to be upcoming, because that is a big one. But the most important thing that I think you need is to fall down and get back up. If you lose your first $50,000, it's not the end of the world, but you need to prepare your brain for that. And I will teach you how to do all those things. And understand that I am teaching you not from a place of privilege. I am so self-made, which means that I was not only not taught anything. I was taught the opposite, negative programming. EQ and emotional fortitude is so important in order for you to succeed in business. Last but not least, and the most important part, let's talk about lifestyle because it's so important. The reason why lifestyle is so important is because it overlays on every single other aspect of our life, right? What lifestyle do you want? For example, for me, I love human connection. I love investing over showing off, because if you don't know what is going to touch you and get you to get up every single day and get you to work those 100-hour days, if you're just driven by hustle culture or you're riding off of the social media wave that everyone else is trending about, you will never get to your goal, because you have to know why you want it. You have to know how to get there, but it has to touch your soul. If it doesn't, it won't work. You need to live the lifestyle that's important to you, hustling or not. Since I'm so action oriented, I took the liberty of writing down some examples of things that you can do in order to achieve, because your ideal life is basically written out on 1 to 10 pages of paper. You could print it out and review it, and then you can break it down into annual goals and monthly goals and down to weekly and daily goals as well. But what's really important above all is, number one, is to know it all. Before running out to go get your first millions, I want you to first sit down and get to know what you're working with. When you buy a car, you read the manual. When you get a computer, you read the manual. You got you, and you don't know your own manual. I don't understand it. How do you not know how your brain works, how your body works? Go get a blood panel, know your hormone levels, go get a brain test, and understand what your personality type is, understand your attachment style, understand your love languages, understand everything about yourself, understand your physical, mental, emotional makeup. Because when you know who you are, you can work with it. If you don't know who you are, you don't know what you're working with, and I don't understand how you think you're going to maintain 100-hour work weeks or even maintain consistency to get to your goals. You're going to give up when you hit your first failure. What about when you hit your third failure? You're not going to feel like an emotional mess at that point? You will. You need to know who you are. And when you know who you are, you can then work with yourself. You're more malleable. The other things you could do is always then like work out, tap in, journal, meditate, touch your goals daily, but know yourself. In conclusion, this week's video takeaway is all about, before you can run, walk. I want you to start off knowing yourself, knowing your plan deeply, thoroughly. Make sure that it's your plan, not social media's plan, not hustling culture's plan, not someone else's plan, your plan. Understand yourself, your limiting beliefs, what you want, what you don't want, your money blocks. Do you really want it? Do you not want it? How do you want it, right? And then let's reverse engineer those goals. Now, next week, we can actually jump into a financial plan. What does investment look like? What does it look like if you don't have money? If you do have money, if you have a spouse, you don't have a spouse, if you live here, if you live there. Yes, we can get into that, but the only way to get there is to first ground yourself. Granted, it took me a very long time, and lucky for you, I'm going to be sharing all that knowledge so that you don't have to go through all of my mistakes and all of my failures, because I've had so many of them. And if you've watched this far into the video, I say thank you, because I don't know who's going to be watching this after 3 years being offline. But if you are here, thank you for being here. Of course, you can subscribe. There's going to be weekly videos. Please tell me what your goals are, what the next video should be about. Because for me, I think it should be about the plan, the financial plan. But if you want it to be about something regarding Airbnb or maybe one of my boutique hotels, I'm more than happy to share that information as well. But I really want this to be a two-way story. So anyways, I'm here with you. I'm glad that you're here with me too, if you've made it this far, and I thank you, and I'll see you next week. Bye.